And some people were emailing me before this saying that they can't come live. They're going to watch the recording later. So that's just something for you and I to be aware of. That some of the people who are going to be participating aren't currently here with us. But for those of you who are here with us, welcome. If you want to get on camera at any point during this event, just message me in the Zoom chat and let me know. For our friends, our V-teamers watching on YouTube, if you want to get on camera, just try to join via Zoom. Oh, good morning from Tampa, Florida. That's awesome. I'm actually calling in from Gainesville, Florida. Jim's joining us from New Jersey. So if other folks want to say hello in the chat and say where they're calling in from, that would be awesome. We'll just keep our eyes peeled on that. Hello from New Jersey as well, from Jake. Hi, Jake. Thanks for being here. Some quick housekeeping business. First of all, thank you so much for joining us for the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. We're going to be doing some citizen science today, which is real science that anyone can do. I'm Caroline from the SciStarter team. This event is for Verizon. It's for folks who are part of Verizon who volunteer with SciStarter by doing different featured citizen science projects to help move the world forward with citizen science. Okay, we got someone calling in from Miami, Florida. This is awesome. Mary Ann is calling in from New York. This event is recorded. The live stream is available on YouTube. And if you aren't watching live, you can watch the live stream via YouTube within 1 hour of this event to get your volunteer hours. So I always like to make that an option for people. We're very, very grateful that you're here. I am going to briefly present about Globe Observer and a little bit about what citizen science is to kick us off. And then I'm going to pass the mic to Jim, who, someone says, why can't I see the chat messages? That's because most people are selecting hosts and panelists for the chat. If you want to see the chat messages, just select everyone. Or if you want everyone to see your chat messages, just select everyone. But anyway, so I'm going to present briefly about what citizen science is, what Globe Observer is. That's a project that you can do today to help NASA understand the planet as a way of volunteering your time and being part of this MLK Day of Service. You can also do it anytime. We're just doing it special today to celebrate. And then Jim's going to present about a really cool project that he's passionate about that we want you to participate in this February. And then hopefully we'll be able to end a little early so you can get outside and just participate from wherever you are in the Globe Observer projects today. Before I start, Jim, do you have anything to add to the people as they join?
No, I'm good.
All right.
We'll keep going.
All right, sounds good. I'll try to get through these fast so we can get to your presentation. So I'm just sharing my screen. Let me pull up my slides. Verizon Day of Service. And if you want, I know sometimes people like access to the slides. I'll go ahead and put these in the chat. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can watch it via bit.ly/Verizon MLK. That's just the way that you can see my slides. Yes, okay, cool. We're live on YouTube. And some people are tuning in, which is great. So friends who are watching on YouTube, if at any point you have a question, you can comment in the YouTube chat, and I will get to those as soon as I wrap up my part of the presentation. And then I know Jim will get to those questions on YouTube as he wraps it up. And the people watching on Zoom, we'll do our best to get to your questions as we go. All right, so hello, Verizon. And you have the link to the slides, which is good. Just one more time, it's bit.ly/Verizon MLK if you want to download these slides for yourself. Okay, first things first, what is citizen science? Well, I always like to start with this. Millions of people enjoy science and nature. And whether you realize it or not, you're probably part of this group. If you love watching birds, or if you've ever looked at a butterfly and been like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Or if you've ever looked up at the night sky and tried to find a constellation, or you've ever pondered how your brain worked and you wish you understood it better, well, you're in really good company. There are millions of people just like you who are curious about the world around them. And whether you know it or not, you probably really enjoy science. Maybe you think of science as something that you were scared of in school. You think of it as tests that you failed. You think of it as memorization. Well, I'm here to tell you that science is way more exciting than that, and you can do science without being a scientist. Science is just a way of thinking about the world. It's a means of answering questions. It's a scientific method. And once you realize that, the whole world can open up to you, and you can start doing real science at any age with any level of experience through citizen science. And part of the reason for that is thousands of scientists need volunteers. One thing we like to say at SciStarter is scientists don't have enough eyes, ears, and perspectives to know everything that there is to know, to understand everything that we need to understand, to answer every question that needs to be answered. That's where citizen science comes in. They need your help. They need you out there collecting and analyzing data. And what is data? Data is just information. Data can be pictures that you take with your smartphone. Data can be notes you write down about your local community and environment. Data can be just you analyzing it by looking at videos and saying whether or not a blood vessel is stalled or flowing. Believe it or not, that's a project we have featured at SciStarter called Stall Catchers. And by making those simple annotations, by indicating whether or not a blood vessel is stalled or flowing, you're allowing researchers at Cornell University to test different things about Alzheimer's disease while they search for a cure. So suffice to say, there are scientists across all disciplines, everything from astronomy to biodiversity to health to zoology, everything in between. They need your help collecting and analyzing data about the world to answer questions that we all care about. Sometimes, however, they can't find each other. These scientists who need volunteers can't find passionate people like yourselves who are so eager to help. That's where SciStarter comes in. We're that bridge. We're the connector. We connect you to real science you can do, and we connect these researchers and these scientists and these project leaders to volunteers like yourselves who want to answer these questions with them. So we connect them. We connect you to real science. We connect researchers and scientists to volunteer communities. And it's people from all around the world who are doing citizen science. I've worked with Girl Scouts and retirees. I worked with volunteers on every single continent, people who haven't graduated high school, people who, I mean, it's so diverse. Anyone can be a citizen scientist. And the definition I like to use and that we use at SciStarter is it's a collaboration between scientists and those of us who are curious, concerned, and motivated to make a difference. Or another way to say it is citizen science allows anybody and everybody to turn their curiosity about the world into real scientific impact. And we feel so privileged to partner with Verizon because we're able to feature, so there are thousands of projects on SciStarter. Researchers have come to SciStarter, added their projects, volunteers from all around the world have come to SciStarter, made accounts, joined these projects. But our partnership with Verizon is really special because you all are a community that is passionate about galvanizing collective impact. So we're able to feature a more limited number of projects and really put all our efforts toward those with the V-teamers, with your community to make a huge difference. So Verizon Volunteers, we've been doing this program since late 2019. I've been part of it. I love being part of this program because I've seen Verizon Volunteers share pictures of nature with scientists. I've seen them monitor air quality. They've been playing online games to help advance medical research. I mean, your efforts have been featured on Discover Magazine's website. I mean, so many of you have done the Stall Catchers project, which is a project where people can, like I said, analyze those blood vessels to help Alzheimer's researchers. It's big. And now we're here today to do some more projects and make even more of a difference. And as Jim will tell you about in a little bit, we really want Verizon to go all in on all of our featured projects. I think there are 24 public right now. I have a few on my to-do list to publish to your program. But because of these special projects that we have featured, we're able to track the number and frequency of Verizon volunteer contributions to these projects to demonstrate that you all can make a difference in a really, really big way. And if you have done one of our projects before, feel free to say so in the chat. I'm actually super curious. Someone says, I only have access to chat with hosts and panelists. There isn't a drop down for everyone. No worries. If you want to say something to everybody, I can put you on camera or give you voice access and you can shout it out. Otherwise, I'll be reading all the chats as they come in. So no sweat on that front. Awesome. Okay, we'll keep it rolling and get to today's featured projects. So I always like to start with this, and you all have access to the slides, so you can get to this link pretty easily. But if you join our community on Verizon, that's really helpful to us. We have a bunch of really exciting things planned for later in the year, Verizon. So we hope that you join our community and you stay up to date with our ongoing projects. So we have a number of projects featured in our community that you can do at any time via scistarter.org/Verizon. And we also have special events like this one where we just get together and we do a project. So by joining our community, that's the best way for us to stay in touch with you. And we really want to work together to address this pillar of Verizon, which is solving social challenges with technology. So I'm going to quickly exit my slideshow And I want to just show you. So I always direct you to the community leak first because that's the best way to stay in touch and make sure you get credit for your volunteer time. But the two projects we're doing today are featured on scistarter.org/Verizon. So usually the flow is you find a project specific ongoing event on the Verizon volunteer community for SciStarter, and then you RSVP with the amount of time you intend to spend on that project. So let's say you're doing stall catchers and you think you're going to be analyzing these videos for an hour. You would RSVP for an hour, and then you go over here to scistarter.org/Verizon. So you log in. I already have a SciStarter account, so I'm able to log in. And then you scroll down and you find the project here and you go off and participate. The way our partnership works with these different projects that have become eligible for inclusion in the Verizon Volunteer Program is you make your SciStarter account, and that allows us to track all your contributions to these different projects, but typically you go somewhere else to participate. So the Globe Observer projects we're doing today, we'll start off with Globe Observer Clouds, so I'll go ahead and go to this page. It's an app. So when you make your Globe Observer account with the same email address you use to sign up for SciStarter, everything's going to track back to SciStarter. So we're going to get the number and frequency of your contributions via that. So I'm just going to put this link in the chat in case, as I'm explaining how this project works and some of the exciting details behind the scenes about it, if you want to go ahead and make your account. And normally you would want to start off on Verizon and RSVP for Globe Observer Clouds first, but your volunteer time is already counted today through this event, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so while you all are potentially, you don't have to do it yet if you don't want to, but you can go ahead and go to this page and download the Globe Observer app for Android or iOS if you'd like to. But if you want to go ahead and get started with that, I'm just going to briefly play this video. I think it's pretty cool before I go back to my slides and some more of the research outcomes of Globe. So let me mute myself so I can go ahead and play this video for you.
My name is Kristen Weaver, and I'm an outreach specialist with Science Systems and Applications, Inc., working out of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. My job is to take all of the cool science and engineering that NASA does and help make it easier to understand for the general public, as well as find ways for people just like you to contribute to NASA's science work through citizen science. I would also like to say that I was a Girl Scout when I was a kid, so I'm really excited to be involved in this partnership in particular. One of the projects I work on is called Globe Observer Clouds. NASA has many satellites orbiting the Earth that look at clouds from above, but we need your help to make matching observations from below. By getting the perspective from both sides, we can have a more complete picture of what's happening with clouds in the atmosphere. It's important to know not just how much of the sky is covered by clouds, but also which types of clouds are present, because different clouds have different effects on Earth's weather and climate and what we call the Earth's energy budget. Satellites see clouds differently than human observers, and NASA scientists could never be in all the places they would like to be to collect data from the ground, which is why we need your help making observations. Here's what we need you to do. Download the free app on your cell phone or other mobile device and set up an account. Check the satellite flyover times for your location, and if you can, go outside to make an observation within 15 minutes of that time. You can make observations anytime, but the most useful are near a satellite overpass. Then, just follow the directions to look at cloud cover, cloud types, and conditions of the sky like sky color and haziness. We'll also ask you about some things that can affect how satellites see the clouds, like whether or not there is snow or ice on the ground. The final step is to take pictures of the sky in all directions, and then send us your data. Thank you for helping NASA understand our home planet.
All right. So that video is a little bit on the older side, but I like showing it because it shows one of the awesome people behind this project. And it helps you know that the data that you're contributing actually is going to NASA. That video was originally made for the Girl Scouts, another community we get to work with in addition for Verizon. So that's why she mentioned that she was a Girl Scout at one point, which I also think shows you the diversity of citizen science and who can participate in it. So this is a great project to do with your families too, if you want to get them out and about later today. Okay, so NASA Globe Observer, it's an app. We ask that you start off at scistarter.org/Verizon and you make your SciStarter account if you haven't done that yet. So feel free to multitask while I'm talking and go ahead and make your SciStarter account. Then from there, click on the Globe of Clouds icon on that page. You're going to download the Globe Observer app on Android or via your iPhone. And if you don't have a smartphone, then there are other projects on the page that you can do, like stall catchers you can do from your computer. But for this one, this is an outdoor project where they use a smartphone. So if you're participating in this project today, definitely use your smartphone for that. If you don't have a smartphone and you still want to get volunteer time for these 2 hours, you can just start catching with stall catchers if you would really like to. So there are 4 different protocols for the Globe Observer app. And you can get volunteer time from Verizon for each one of these protocols. So your time is already counted for this event for the 2 hours that you're spending, learning with me and then participating. But if you want to keep on doing it, because I think it's pretty fun, you can do it every day if you want. You can go back to Verizon via our volunteer community anytime, and you can log your hours for any one of these protocols. So Globe Observer Clouds. So with this project, scientists combine your ground observations with satellite observations of clouds to form a more complete picture of the sky. This is a particularly cool project because it helps with all sorts of different things, including monitoring the environment and climate change and weather. It's awesome. I also like it a lot because it's very relaxing to identify the different types of clouds, and the app really walks you through it. So I think this one's fun, and that's the one I picked for us to start today. Another project is Globe Observer Land Cover. That's the second project I'm going to spotlight today. So by providing details about the land, you are helping scientists create better satellite-based maps, which can be used to assess disaster risk and monitor change. NASA, they use this one a lot, Land Cover. Landslide Reporter is another one of their projects. This project is really, land cover is just anything that covers the land. So this project, like it says, is really important just in assessing what's going on with the land, if it's particularly susceptible to landslides, for example, if there are floods that might be at risk, things like that. So land cover is a really cool one, and you can do it from anywhere, any one of the Globe Observer countries. Then we have Globe Mosquito Habitat Mapper. This is a project I do a lot in Florida. Because I saw some people in the chat were from Florida as well. You all are very familiar with mosquitoes, I'm sure. So with Globe Mosquito Habitat Mapper, they have people observe mosquito larvae in their habitats. But basically what you're doing with this one is you're just identifying standing water, which is which is a place that mosquitoes can potentially, come to be, mosquito larvae can occur. And a really cool aspect of this protocol is it walks you through how to neutralize the mosquito habitat, what you need to do to eliminate the standing water or whatever's going on to potentially create mosquitoes. And it helps NASA forecast disease outbreaks so they can see potential hotspots of where there's a lot of potential mosquito habitats or mosquito larvae might occur. And by walking you through the act of disabling this habitat, you can help reduce the risk of disease. So this is a cool one, especially for my Floridian friends. I really hope you participate in that. And then the last one is Globe Observer Trees. So the project walks you through tree height and circumference measurements to help scientists understand how carbon moves through ecosystems. I'll be honest, I always mess this one up. They have you do very specific things like step a certain amount away from the tree to help measure its height with the app. And my measurements are always slightly off. So I hope you all are more careful than me and have more success with that particular protocol. I saw someone raise their hand. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Or if you want to get on camera and verbally ask your question, you can write that in the chat as well. And I will promote you to a panelist so you can ask your question on Zoom. Other than that, I'll get into some of the specifics of clouds. So these slides, I really want to credit where they came from. They came from one of our friends at NASA. She actually presented these slides for an event we did a while back called SIT-SciCon in partnership with NASA and the Citizen Science Association. So just going to cite my sources there. Marila is awesome. And yeah, thank you so much to her for these slides. As you can see from this picture, it's so easy to participate in this project. I mean, you're just using your smartphone outside to observe some clouds. So when you do it later today, it should be no sweat. Okay, so not all clouds are created equal. And you'll see this in the app. They have you walk through and identify like the amount of clouds you see in the sky, the type of clouds you see in the sky, And like one thing I think that's really interesting about the Globe Observer project is that by participating, you also learn a lot about clouds. So you learn about clouds that cast shadows, and you also learn about the cloud types that produce precipitation. So as you walk through the app, it'll teach you things about clouds to help you identify them. And also, there are some things that aren't clouds. Not everything that is white is a cloud. So you might be able to identify some contrails or things that come from airplanes. The app will cover that as well. Globe is really big. I always like to emphasize this too. You know, it's supported, it's sponsored by NASA, but it's supported by other federal agencies in the US as well. And you don't have to be in the United States to participate. There are over 100 Globe countries. So we have people, as you can see, these folks were in Kuwait when they were participating. But you can participate in a lot of different countries to help monitor the world. So really cool to see that we're part of a global community here when we're participating in Globe Observer. And like we said before, people of all age, lifelong learners can do it. There are also some Spanish resources. So if you wanted to do this with community members or V-teamers who speak Spanish, there are some cool resources for them too. And I think the biggest thing, the big why here, is the cloud observations that you take are matched to satellite data. So you are ground truthing that satellite data, helping NASA know if what you see from the ground matches what they see above. And there is an element of the app where you can go through and see the satellite paths for that day, which is always a fun way to contribute. But you can contribute at any time of day. So the clouds tool itself. So you start off on SciStarter, scistarter.org/Verizon, and you make your SciStarter account. That helps us because it allows us to track the collective impact of this Verizon program and see that how much you all are really contributing and really celebrate you and everything that you're accomplishing as a community. Then from there, you can click on the Globe Clouds icon on scistarter.org/Verizon, and you download the Globe Observer app. You download it on your iPhone or you download it on Android. And then you make your Globe Observer account with the same email address you use to sign up for SciStarter. Ideally, your Verizon email. That really helps us. And once you have all that done, and I'll pause in a second, because I know some of you are probably downloading the app while we're doing this because we want to contribute today. It's really easy. You just make a new clouds observation. You observe the overall cloud cover. You observe the sky conditions. You identify what cloud types there are and the opacity of these. So, you know, if they're particularly thick, if they're transparent. And then you take some photos and it walks you through which photos to take. And that's always my favorite part. So it's simple enough. I'll pause there and see if there are any questions so far. And then I'll briefly summarize land cover. And after that, we'll pass it over to Jim. Any questions so far? And there are no bad questions. And if you've done this project before, you know, tell us that in the chat too, or if you've done a citizen science project before, that's always really exciting for us to know. Nothing's off limits here. Ooh, we got something in the chat. What do we do when there's not a cloud? That's still great. You still observe. You just say there aren't any clouds and you take some pictures of the sky. They just want observations because that still helps them track their that still helps ground truth the satellite data when there's not a cloud. Jim, have you done Globe Observer before?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Yes, I love it.
Up to 4 hours already for the year.
All right, everybody, be like Jim. This is awesome. Someone just asked for a link to the slides. Let me go back to the first slide. I forget what I called the link. Going back in time. Okay, yeah, here's the link to the slides. It's http://bit.ly/Verizon MLK. So if you want to download the slides, feel free. If you want to use these slides to present to your team, I mean, you can definitely do that too. We would love to get more people doing volunteer events and their staff meetings and things like that. I'm also, my colleague Emma does a bunch of these, but I can join too. I'm always happy to join a staff meeting or an online event or even an in-person event. We actually have some travel funding for April especially, so have me come to your city. But we are always happy to do I think these projects, you can do them on your own, but I think they're way more fun to do as a group. So I'm always happy to join and facilitate these projects as a group. So Jim, you're up to 4 hours for the year so far. Have you been mainly doing Globe Clouds or have you done the other globes? Like, which ones are you participating in?
Well, the 4 hours was just for the Globe Clouds. I've done the learn to identify plants and animals for science. That's the iNaturalist, and that's 3.5 hours so far. And measure the light pollution to protect the night sky, which is Globe at Night. I got an hour in there right now, but we've been having like a rash of bad weather.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So you might be doing, maybe you could do more of the indoor projects like stall catchers while you wait for the weather to get a little bit better. Cool. Well, thanks for participating. And for everybody else, if you end up doing a bunch of projects, you could be like Jim and you could teach other people about projects. He's going to be presenting for you in a little bit. We love featuring you all on social media, and we also have a partnership with Discover Magazine. So if you want to get featured, just get in touch. Email info@scistarter.org. I'll have our contact info on a later slide, so we can keep celebrating you.
So that'll be great.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to give a brief overview of land cover. That's the other project that we asked you all to do today. So, as soon as we wrap up the Zoom call, I'm hoping that we all go outside and participate. So Globe Observer land cover, what is on the land around you and why does it matter? So we talked a little bit about it in the earlier slides, where land cover is just what's covering the land. But these slides also come from NASA SITSICON, so thanks to our partners again for loaning these slides to me. But land cover is habitat, shelter, and food. It contributes to a community's vulnerability to hazards like fires, floods, and pollution. It is part of the carbon cycle and the water cycle. Land cover is intimately tied to life. So just by participating in NASA land cover, you help NASA map what covers the land and monitor the world. And you can help make a community less vulnerable to hazards by helping NASA understand what's going on the ground. The first step to being a more resilient society and more resilient to hazards is understanding, which is informed by citizen science data in many instances. So participating in land cover is super simple. You report the conditions, you take photos in 4 directions, up and down, and then you classify it. You describe what you see. So when I go outside later in Florida, it's very flat outside, so it's going to be pretty easy for me to observe my land cover, take pictures, identify the land. And the app makes it super easy for you. It walks you through the whole process and you just answer its questions. And to once again emphasize the global community, this was a volunteer spotlight. So 2 11-year-old scouts in Australia contributed unique data published in a peer-reviewed journal. Half the data shown here on this map came from those 3 kids, Mitchell, Samuel, and Josh, and they observed data in unique areas where there hadn't been a lot of on-the-ground data. So these were tough to get to, expensive areas for field research, and this really demonstrates the value of citizen science data collection. It also helps put your community on the map. Maybe your community in rural Florida hasn't been observed before. So by doing that, it's really, really helpful for NASA to get a full picture of what's going on globally. So I just wanted to give you all that call to action for today. Participate in Globe Observer Clouds, Globe Observer Land Cover in that same app. You don't have to RSVP via one of the other Verizon events for today because your time's already counted with this 2-hour event. But by doing that, you're going to make a big difference for NASA and you're going to help monitor the world around you. So once again, that's our community. If you want to do these projects later, we ask that you sign up for our community so we can keep in touch with you, especially about the opportunity Jim's about to share. And you can participate in our featured projects anytime. And it's not just environmental monitoring projects like the ones we're talking about today. You can do stall catchers to help Alzheimer's researchers. You can do Eterna to help design RNA-based vaccines completely from your computer. There's a whole world out there with citizen science. And also, if you see a project on the main SciStarter website that you really want featured in the Verizon Volunteer Program, just email us. We can work with them to get them set up with the contribution tracking that we have enabled for all the Verizon volunteer projects that are featured. And we're really responsive to community feedback. And we love hearing from you and making sure this program is fun for you as you're making a difference and solving social challenges with technology. So don't be shy, get in touch. Okay, so I'll stop sharing here for now. I want to see if any more questions come through. And if they don't, you all should have everything at your disposal to participate in the Globe Observer projects today. But before you do that, we wanted to feature Jim, and he's going to talk about a special opportunity for February, the Globe at Night project. It's a little confusing. You're hearing the word globe a lot. Globe at Night and Globe Observer are actually separate. Globe Observer is part of NASA. Globe at Night is a separate project. It's one of my favorites, though. It's very cool. You get to go outside and participate. And that's a project that Jim is really passionate about. Globe at Night is also international. You can do it anywhere in the world, any country on Earth. And it's really focused on light pollution. So I can actually get the name. Yeah. The National Optical Astronomy Observatory is responsible for Globe at Night. I believe they're based in Arizona. So if I don't want y'all to get confused between Globe Observer and Globe at Night, but both Globe Observer and Globe at Night are featured in the Verizon volunteer program. So you can get Verizon volunteer hours for both of them. Okay, that being said, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can do Jim's slide. Jim, do you have anything else before we get to your slides?
No, we can go right into it.
Awesome. Okay. Let me delete this one because we covered that. Perfect. And everything else is the same. All right. So Jim, the floor is yours.
All right. Globe at Night is, like we said, is another, citizen science project. And, light pollution, touches on a lot of aspects of our life. Next slide. Okay. I'm part of Verizon, and this is actually my 40th year. I'm also a member of ASTRA since 2017. That's the Astronomical Society of the Toms River area. And you can find us at astra-nj.com. And we meet at the Robert J. Novins Planetarium every second Friday of the month. That's on the campus of Ocean County College. I am also a member and an advocate for the International Dark Sky Association as of 2021, and I've been participating in SciStarter and Globe at Night since 2020. I'm an amateur astronomer as well as a astrophotographer, and I've been doing this for a few short years, and I still consider myself a beginner. Next. So, what is Globe at Night? Globe at Night was, I gotta see if I can move this around here. Okay, go. Globe at Night was founded in 1994. It's a program that's a, international science, citizen science program. And it's there to help raise public awareness of the impact of light pollution by inviting citizen scientists to measure the night sky brightness and submit their observations from a computer or a smartphone. Light pollution threatens not only our rights to starlight, but can affect energy consumption, wildlife, and health. More than 200,000 measurements have been contributed from people in 180 countries over the last 14 years, making Globe at Night one of the most successful light pollution awareness campaigns to date. Globe at Night is the basis for some of the most important results in light pollution research. And that was information I had gotten from Krista Kieber at a recent IDA advocates meeting, in December. Next. So why participate? Globe at Night is looking for as much participation as possible to collect data and match them with the changes in the data they already have from participating citizen scientists worldwide. Globe at Night is looking to have participants collect the data each night that will take only a few minutes. Over time, this will allow Globe at Night to see the overall changes. Returning participants provide more valued results than the one and done participants. So get out there and observe as often as possible. Last year, I did 136 hours of various volunteering, and I would say a quarter of that was Globe at Night. Next. So what is light pollution? Light pollution is the excessive, misdirected, or obstructive artificial light at night that washes out starlight in the night sky, interferes with astronomical research, disrupts the ecosystem, and has adverse health effects. That's us. Waste energy and money. Now, I can tell you, with light pollution, you go out, look at the night sky, for most of us that live in the city areas, you really don't see that many stars out there. And I'll give you one example of it. In 1994, an earthquake hit Los Angeles. It was about 3 a.m. in the morning, and the quake knocked out all the power from the city. When the residents went outside to peer around and assess the damage, they were confronted with something that they'd never seen before, a dark sky. Griffith Observatory reported that many fearful calls, asked, what was that strange silvery cloud in the night sky? Of course, that was the Milky Way. So our heritage of the night sky is becoming a hidden wonder that many people never see. Light pollution is a problem that's increasing, but we can easily solve that. Next. So protecting the night sky, only 1 in 10 people live under the dark night sky of natural darkness. To see the Milky Way, how far do you have to travel? The International Dark Sky Association is a global organization that works to protect the night sky along with, Globe at Night, to present for future generations of promoting responsible outdoor lighting. Today, 99% of the US and Europe live under light polluted skies, and it's increasing at a 2% rate each year. Next. So why care about light pollution? Take your pick. Any one of those topics up there, light pollution impacts. Next slide. So here are some of the examples. Birds will get confused at night, in the light. Migrating birds use celestial navigation and can lose their way, and collide with buildings. Well, they'll just keep flying around up there till they're exhausted and they drop. Turtles cannot find their way to the sea. They'll hatch, they'll see the lights as opposed to the shimmering, on the water, and they'll go inland instead of towards the water. Trees will bud early, lose their leaves late, shortening their lifespan. Human health, the melatonin that regulates our sleep-wake cycle is interrupted. So various forms of sleep deprivation and cancers are now associated with light pollution. And then there's safety. More light is less safe. So the more light we're putting out there is actually a fallacy. You can have a floodlight, in the yard, and you'll stare into it to see what may be, behind it, but you're not going to see anything from the glare. So you got to shield that light and just point it where it's actually needed. And it's a lot safer that way. And also the new headlights that are out there, they're also a problem too for people to, to see, because of the glare. Next. So what can we do to go outside and look up? Next. All right, you just go out, sit there, let your eyes adjust, and you'll see what's up there. Go ahead. All right, and what you're going to be looking for is the constellations, and the constellations is nature's tool for globe at night. Constellations are a group of stars that forms a particular shape in the sky and has been given a name. There are officially 88 named constellations, with 36 of them in the Northern Hemisphere. Being able to see a constellation is getting harder with light pollution. Next. So the constellations are moving. When you're looking out up there, and you could start at 8 o'clock at night and then come back at 10 o'clock and it's in a different spot. Stars and constellations stay in approximately the same spot. They only appear to move in the sky, during the night and from season to season, because we are on a moving planet. Because the constellations are in a fixed location, they were often used as landmarks in the night sky, and navigation. Next. So for constellation observing, not much is needed. All right, just look up. Be doing naked eye observing. There are some tools that can help, start exploring the night sky. One is a plane sphere, and it's a wheel that has 2 slides on it. One to give you dates, times, and you'll spin it around, and you can see the different stars during the night, and the constellations that are there. So that's one of the tools, that you can use. Next. The other would be a red flashlight. Now, why would you want to use a red flashlight? Well, it's because you don't want to ruin your night vision when you're out there. So you would use that red flashlight to look at the planisphere, and to know what the constellations are that you're going to be looking at. Next slide. Another tool is astronomy apps on a cell phone. Next. All right, key uses, weather observing, for when you do some astronomical work, planning and observing session, finding and identify constellations, tracking movement of planets. There's a whole slew of things out there, and the cell phone can also have a red light on there, so you won't ruin your night vision. Next.
Uranus.
Now, listed here are just some of the apps that are available on the cell phone. Stellarium, which is very big in the astronomy community. Sky Safari, Star Walk, Star Tracker. I have all these on my phone because I do presentations out to the public about this, and there's many more out there. So for what Globe at Night is looking to do for the month of February, we would like people to go out there and observe each night with one of the most well-known constellations. The more data collected helps scientists learn more about the impact of light pollution. And beyond the February campaign, Globe at Night would like you to continue participation as many nights as possible, year after year, because the more data collected, the better research we'll have on light pollution over time. So the February constellation has been picked is Orion the Hunter. The Orion constellation is one of the brightest and best known constellations in the night sky, also known as the Hunter, as it is associated with one of the Greek mythologies. It is often depicted, in star maps as facing the charge of Taurus the bull, while Orion is pursuing the Seven Sisters, which is the Pleiades, a famous open star cluster. So what will you be doing at Globe at Night? You will be indirectly measuring light pollution by counting the number of visible stars you see in the constellation. And the data collected should be taken 1 or 2 hours after sunset. Data collected is more valuable from your everyday location. So you can see here in the 3 different pictures, depending on how much light pollution you have when you're looking at the constellation. In most cases, you'll see Betelgeuse and Rigel. Those are like the really bright stars in the constellation, along with Sirius, but that's not really part of it. And the better light darkness you have, you'll see more and more of the stars. You'll actually see all of Orion's belt, as also what they call Orion's sword, which also has some really great views in the solar area, which is the Orion Nebula, which a lot of people don't realize is out there, and you can actually see it with a decent pair of binoculars, not even just a telescope. Next. So to get started, like we said earlier, create your SciStarter account via the Verizon dashboard and register your Verizon email. You're going to look for measure light pollution to protect the night sky. and update your time for each night and plan, you're collecting data. Now, they do give you different amounts of time to volunteer, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. I generally pick 30 minutes because I like to take the time of my eyes adjusting to the night for at least 15 minutes. That's what's called, your night vision. And then I'll take my measurements after that. But you can also put in 15 minutes if you want. But 30 minutes is what I would recommend for doing it. Next slide. So how to participate in Globe at night. Next slide. All right, turn off your lights, as many as possible in your surrounding area. Let your eyes adjust, to the darkness for 15 minutes, like we mentioned. And, for your observation, and this will allow you to see more stars out there. All right, find the constellation Orion. All right, and, it's in the shape of an hourglass. Look between your eastern and southern horizon to spot spot Orion. And it'll be about 1/3 of the way up in the sky. And it'll move westerly, as the time goes later. Then you would, go to Globe at Night, right from your cell phone, globeatnight.org/web app. You can go to your app store and you can actually load it and keep it on your phone. All right, and then you would enter the data. You'd put your time, your location, and you'll see a little map pop up, for whatever address that you put in there, and you can save it in there for for your next observation. And then as you're observing, you'll have 5 different choices. I believe it's 5 different choices of what the night sky is going to look like. For you. A lot of people, unfortunately, is going to be that top picture. Then there would be a number of us that would be the middle image. Anybody who has the bottom image in their night sky, that's really great. I wish I was where you're at. All right, it's going to ask you how much cloud cover. Choose the amount of clouds cover at the times for you're observing, from the 4 images that are presented. And then you have an optional way of participating. Now, me being an astronomer, as also the part of the IDA, I actually have this, sky quality meter. There are some library programs where you can actually, borrow a sky quality meter. I've actually went out for myself, being the nerd that I am, and went and bought one for myself. And you can actually enter the data, that comes from the sky quality meter, and submit it there, and then put your Verizon email address in there, because you want to make sure you get the credit for participating with the SciStarter Verizon program. Next. So in closing, we're going to share about a 6.5-minute video from the International Dark Sky Association called Losing the Night. And this will sum up everything associated with the problems with light pollution and what we can actually do about it. If you're anywhere within the New Jersey area, I do presentations for the International Dark Sky Association to various groups. And if you're in other states, you could always look up the IDA for other IDA advocates, that will, give you more involved discussions on light pollution. So here's Losing the Dark.
We live on the surface of a planet, spinning on its axis once every 24 hours. Its rhythms of day and night are embedded in the biological makeup of all life. During the day, we bathe in the glow of the sun. As night approaches, darkness takes over. It's a time to rest, to rejuvenate, to marvel at the beauty of the night. Until just over a century ago, our night skies were very dark. Now, even the wilderness is invaded by light. Our cities glow at night. Buildings are lit up. Unshielded lights blind us as we travel along our streets and roads. All these artificial lights overpower the darkness. The waste of energy is obvious, even from space. Much of that yellow glare the astronauts see comes from streetlights. They produce most of the light pollution on the planet. The glare is scattered by the atmosphere, creating sky glows over the landscape. We are losing the dark of night at the speed of light. Light pollution threatens the health of every living thing on Earth. Lights at night disrupt plant growth. Unshielded lights contribute to the deaths of countless land and sea animals each year. Migrating birds crash into illuminated buildings. Newly hatched sea turtles mistake the glow of electric lights for the shimmer of the ocean's surface. Bright lights at night also directly affect humans. Drivers and pedestrians temporarily blinded by poorly designed lights have suffered tragic accidents. Light pollution poses a silent threat to our health. Exposure to light at night disrupts the circadian rhythms that regulate our sleep cycles. People working at night under bright lights or living in light-polluted cities face a higher risk of developing diseases such as breast and prostate cancer. Here is a night sky with typical light pollution. On a good night, only the brighter stars and planets pierce the glow. This is what the night sky might look like if we could remove the light pollution. That faint band of light stretching across the sky is the Milky Way, our home galaxy. Because of light pollution, many people have never seen it. Astronomers know all too well the problems caused by lighting up the night. They need clear, dark skies to study the many fascinating objects in the universe. Light pollution simply washes out their view of the cosmos. Lighting up the night sky wastes money and fossil fuels. To keep a 100-watt light bulb turned on every night for a year takes the equivalent energy output from burning half a ton of coal. Multiplied by the billions of lights blazing up from Earth, the cost of energy we use to light up the night is colossal. While lighting is needed, there are some simple things we can do to ensure that it's neighborhood-friendly, energy-efficient, and helps preserve dark skies. We can replace light fixtures that send light up to the sky with ones that direct light down, exactly where we want it. They're called fully shielded fixtures. We can also illuminate only the places that need it. And of course, we can just turn off unnecessary lights. These are smart ways to use lighting. They offer simple solutions to problems caused by light pollution. We have a choice between wasting resources by sending light to the sky or learning to use light more responsibly. Light pollution is a problem each of us can help solve. Together, we can bring back the dark of night to planet Earth.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim.
Okay, so, just to, close, for observing with the globe at night for February with the constellation Orion, the goal is for February is to go out there each day in February. And of course, that'll help, build up the amount of time for your Verizon participation, for us to reach the goal that, has been set for us, at the corporate level for volunteer time. But it's also a great way of helping Globe at Night, for their studies in light pollution. And of course, you can do this anytime you want. It doesn't have to be just February. There's a lot of constellations out there that you can use with Globe at Night, for your observing. And if anybody has any further questions on it, within Verizon, they could always look me up and we can talk about it. And I do, various presentations associated with the astronomy group, the International Dark Sky Association, and I've already been in talks with Carolyn about, doing more, with the Sci Starter program.
Yeah, I think you're a great case study because just because of your intense interest, we're sending out SciStarter staff to support you in April for some of your events. So everyone who's watching, you can be like Jim. You can get passionate about a citizen science project, and then we can come to you in person. We could come to you online. We just want to make, your citizen science dreams come true. This is awesome. Thank you so much, Jim. Oh, I wanted to get the full, look at this GIF, everybody. This is so good. I really want to call attention to the fact, Jim, these are some of the most beautiful slides I've ever seen. So you did such a great job.
Thanks. And of course, the last slide is the reference material I used for here. It was, of course, globeatnight.org, scistarter.org, darksky.org, which is the International Dark Sky Association. Earthsky.org is a really good resource page for anything astronomy related, as well as the constellation-guide.com.
All right, good stuff. So if anyone has any questions, now is the time. We can bring you on camera. We can just answer your questions in the chat. I'll just get the slideshow going again. The best way to stay in touch with us about all these different opportunities is to sign up for our community via Verizon. So the link's on the screen. I'll also put it in the chat because why not? Let's do that. We're going to make a special event for February for Globe at Night, but you can go ahead and RSVP for the regular Globe at Night on the SciStarter volunteer community. You might be wondering why our events on on Verizon have different names than our projects. We did that partially for search results. I think the name for Globe at Night is like Measure Light in the Night. That's on purpose. That helps us with, if you all type like light or pollution or something like that, when you're looking for a Verizon event, ours are more likely to pop up. So that's why the Verizon events have such fancy names, and then the projects are like more simple. It's just to help us find more of you and more volunteers so we can do more science. Okay, so you heard about a few different projects today. Ideally, you all will go out and do Globe Observer right now. You have an hour left on this volunteer event that you can get started with. You can download that Globe Observer app. If anyone has any questions right now, please put them in the chat, or you can write in the chat, I want the audio and video access, and we'll promote you to a Zoom panelist so you can ask your chat verbally. I'm actually going to briefly stop sharing my screen just so I can see if anybody watching via YouTube has any questions. So let's see. No, the YouTube people are just saying how enthusiastic they are. That's really fun. Thanks for watching. For our V teamers watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, within the next week to get your volunteer credit, that's totally okay. You just need to download that Globe Observer app, make your SciStarter account, all that good stuff, and participate for, about an hour after, watching this presentation for an hour, and you'll get your volunteer time. And for those of you who want to participate in Globe at Night, you can do that right now via the ongoing Verizon volunteer event, or if you want to be part of the special February effort with Orion that Jim told you about, just join our community, and that's the best way for me to get in touch with you with more details. So I'm just going to pause here. Any questions? There are no bad questions. If you have questions for Jim about why he's passionate about astronomy, you can ask those. If you have questions for me about how you participate in Globe Observer, you can ask me those too. There are no bad questions. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions go through, so I'm just going to share my screen. So let's say, all right, so now I'm ready to go outside and participate. I made my SciStarter account already. I'm logged into Verizon. Maybe I want to do land cover first. And this is a useful resource for you all. If anything I said was confusing, you can read these instructions at your own pace and do things at your own pace. So, and remember, the Globe Observer, all those 4 different protocols are in the same app. You just register your volunteer time differently on Verizon via each one of the different projects. But for today, you're already covered for volunteer time, which is awesome via this event. Okay, so I make my Globe account with the same Verizon email, case sensitive, I use to sign up for SciStarter. Also, don't forget to add SciStarter in the referral field. Okay, so you turn on location services, you click the land cover protocol, you review the introductory materials, you make a new observation, you classify the land, you just answer all the questions in the app, you take some pictures, and then you send your data. It's easy enough. Globe also, they let you do land cover expert tutorials if you want to level things up. And let's say today, you do Globe clouds, you do Globe land cover, and you still have more time. You can do trees and mosquitoes too to get you to the full hour. That's fine as well. It's totally up to you. In case I ask you all, if you haven't yet, spend this time that we have right now. Go ahead, make your SciStarter account, download Globe Observer, and download that app and make your account there too, that same email address, just in case you have any problems. And while Jim and I are here, I just want to help you and help troubleshoot it for you. So just go ahead and make your accounts. And while you all do that, I'm going to play a little video about land cover because I figured, why not? We have the time.
Become a citizen scientist today with Globe Observer.
Okay, that was simple enough. I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll turn my video back on. Someone said, will you please confirm the site where I can create the account? You can go straight to scistarter.org/Verizon. And I recommend you can start with land cover or you can start with clouds. If you just want to start with clouds, you can go to this direct link that I'm putting in the chat right now. Oops, I didn't copy and paste it right. Let me do that again. And it'll walk you through the whole process. And your volunteer time is already counted today through this event. But if you want to do this again in the future, just join our community and you can find the Globe Observer events on our community. Okay. So Tanya was the one who said in the chat, where can I create the account? So she has that link. Remember, scistarter.org/Verizon. If I already have an account for the Alzheimer's user, may I use the same account? So I'll just share my screen really fast again. Let me get out of this video. So your SciStarter account is good for any of these featured projects. And for any of these featured projects, any other day you want to participate in this, you can record your time via the Verizon volunteer platform. So if you have a SciStarter account for stall catcher and you participate in stall catchers, you're good. For each one of these featured projects, you have to make a separate account on either the project's website or app. But if you've created a SciStarter account once, you're good for SciStarter. You just have to log in to get started. Then you can create your separate account for any one of these projects. Maybe you love pollinators, you could do this project and observe pollinators that come to flowering plants. Maybe you're really passionate about, oh, I don't know, tap water. You want to know if your tap water is safe. Or you want like some indicators about that. You can participate in Crowd the Tap. If you're passionate about mental health, the Narika Project's a really good one. You can play online games to help scientists at Trinity College in Dublin understand what's going on with mental health and dementia research. This is one of my favorite projects, Land Loss Lookout. You can do this from anywhere. You help monitor land loss on the Mississippi River Delta by classifying images online. So anyone, anywhere in the world can help understand what's going on with land loss, whether it's a result of sea level rise, whether it's a result of oil and gas production, to help make Louisiana and the rest of the Gulf Coast more resilient. And with any of these projects, Eterna, where you design RNA-based vaccines by solving puzzles online, you make your SciStarter account, and then you go to this project via the participate button at the bottom of their SciStarter profile, and you make an account for one of these projects. So today's featured projects that we're asking you all to do are Globe Observer and Globe Land Cover, Globe Observer Clouds and Globe Observer Land Cover. They're right next to each other on this page, and they're both via the Globe Observer app. And since your volunteer time is already counted through this webinar, you just have to go to the app after you make your SciStarter account, make your account for Globe Observer using that same email address. If there's a referral field, put SciStarter, and then you just get started. You just start participating. Has anyone had a chance to participate yet? If you want to go ahead and run outside and do it, you totally can. I'll stick around if you want to come back and tell me how you did. And are there any more questions from people? If I'm not seeing any more questions come through, I think I actually might go participate and do it today. Someone said, can I run out and take a picture of a cloud now? Yeah, go for it. Go do that and come back and tell us how it was. Okay. Someone said, I logged into my Gmail, but my email is, yeah, so we asked that you make your Globe Observer account with the same email address you use for your SciStarter account. And ideally, those would be your Verizon email just to help us with tracking purposes. So just try to make sure you do that. I mean, our stopgap measure is if everything goes wrong, we still have your volunteer time via the platform that you recorded, but ideally, everything is with your Verizon email, your SciStarter account, and whatever projects accounts you may make. Okay, so I'm actually going to join via phone. I'm going to make my phone the host. And I'm going to switch over to phone audio because I'm going to go outside while we're all on the line together and go participate. Okay, so let me get rid of my audio momentarily. All right, you all should be able to hear me via my phone. I am just going to turn my camera off for a second, and I'm going to get the Globe Observer app running on my phone momentarily. If anybody has any trouble hearing me, don't be shy. You can let me know in the chat or if you have any issues whatsoever. Okay, Globe Observer. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, let's get the Globe Observer app up. So I theoretically already went to scistarter.org/Verizon. I made my SciStarter account with my Verizon email address. I clicked on the Globe Observer icon on the SciStarter Verizon page, and then I downloaded the Globe Observer app. After that, I made my Globe Observer account using my Verizon email address once again, so everything tracks perfectly. And now I'm going to go outside and participate. Woo! Okay.
So bear with me as I walk outdoors. We're going to go outside. And you can participate from anywhere. You can be in an apartment complex. You can be, in a city. You can be in the country. Wherever you happen to be, you can participate. I'm going to go on data so I don't lose you all. Oops. 1 second. Let me stop sharing for a second. Okay, we should be good. So let me share my screen again. All right. All right, we're gonna do clouds. So let me click on the clouds. Okay, Globe Observer Clouds is an easy to use tool for recording clouds and sky conditions as you go about your day. Users can visualize the observations you submit to Globe, as well as those submitting by other app users from around the world by clicking here. You can also compare your observation to one taken by a NASA satellite. If your observation is within 15 minutes of a satellite overpass, enabling the app's notifications feature informs you of satellite flyovers, so you can plan your observation time. In addition, observing at solar noon allows you to more easily compare your measurements with other Globe users. You can also set a notification for solar noon at your location. Notifications are enabled. Okay, so if you all want to keep doing this, which I really recommend you do, I mean, for example, Jim, he's already gotten 4 hours of volunteer time this year with this. So that could be you too. You could do this every day if you want. Okay, so to make that observation, you will capture the date, time, and location, identify whether the sky is clear, cloudy, or obscured, estimate what % of the sky is covered. At each cloud level, high, middle, low, identify cloud contrail types, % of sky covered, and classify visual opacity, record surface conditions, and photograph the sky. All right, once you complete your observation, send it to the Globe system so others can see and analyze the data. Note, all photo submissions are reviewed prior to display on the Globe site. Observations are best made in a location where you have an open view of the sky. I'm in the parking lot of my apartment complex, so I'm good on that front. Hope I don't get run over during this presentation, TBD. Observations are best made via the sky. We're good. And if you all need more help, there are extending training slides linked in this app, and there's a help section. Okay, let's keep going. So new cloud observation. I am in Gainesville. There we go. Next. Okay. The sky is clear for me today. I do not see any clouds, so clear sky. For me, the sky is just regular old blue. Sky is really clear, unusually clear, I would say. There's no snow. I'm in Florida. No standing water. It hasn't rained recently. It's not muddy. The ground is dry. There are leaves on my trees, and it is currently not raining. I'm going to take some pictures. Okay, rotate your device. Align the circles. So let me stop sharing my screen for a second, just so I can make it so I can flip my phone again. So we'll do that. Okay. I'll briefly turn my camera on just so you all can see how nice it is here. I'm going to make you all jealous. Look at that sky. Beautiful, clear, not a cloud in the sky. Lots of good observations today. So let me stop my video again. And I'm going to share my screen so I can participate. That was great. Okay, so I'm going back to the app. There we go. All right, so north, we got to get our circle. There we go. Done. Oh, well, I need to do south. Take a photo. South, I believe, is that way. So I'm going to take another picture. I'll use that photo. Allow access to photos. East, I'll take that photo. Use photo. I'm going to do west. That's that direction. Taking my photos. Up. There we go. And now we do down. That's the parking lot. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to finish up here. I'm going to go ahead and send my cloud data.
All right.
And I'll
Carolyn,
stop sharing there. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Yeah, Jim?
Yeah, one thing with taking the pictures that wasn't showing up here in the display, as you have the cell phone up in the sky,
Mhm.
You'll get your map coordinates, north, south,
Yes.
east, and west, where you would center that circle in there.
Yeah, it showed up for me. Yeah, I guess it didn't come through for you all. So yeah, that's a really good tip. Thank you for mentioning that, Jim. Make sure you use your smartphone to its fullest abilities. Get that north, south, east, west, and then of course up and down as well. Jim, do you have any other tricks you could share with everybody about like how you participate or any best practices you want to share? I lost your sound for a second. 1 second.
That was my fault. I went back to mute.
Oh,
No,
no worries.
I pretty much do the same thing. I live in a 55 and over community, so I step outside the house in the driveway, and I do all my measurements, right there next to the car.
Yeah, just like I did. I went out into my parking lot and it was easy enough.
Right. And if you're going to do it during the time at work and you're in office, maybe a few minutes at lunchtime or during break, you go outside and you can do your measurements outside the Verizon building.
Awesome stuff. I want to see, I'm back inside now, came back from the parking lot. I want to see if anybody else had a chance to participate and if anybody has any questions. And that's a great tip, Jim. Yeah, like go outside during your lunch break, participate in your parking lot or wherever you happen to have a clear view of the sky. Any other feedback or questions from folks? I'll check the YouTube too and refresh that and see if anybody had any YouTube comments. All right, well, I'm not seeing anything else from folks, so I think I'll let you all go out and participate. Remember, you have the rest of the hour to do it. You're getting 2 hours of volunteer time today. And if you want to stay in touch with us, you can join our community. We really recommend that. And that's how we can keep in touch with you about the opportunity Jim shared as well about the February Globe at Night event. And you can do Globe at Night at any time. We're just doing a special push in February. And if you want to be like Jim, or you want us to come to your staff meeting or come in person to your office, please just get in touch. We'd love doing that. It's a lot of fun for us. So with that, I think thank you everyone for participating, for joining us for the MLK Day of Service. Mary just said in the chat, thank you so much. I'm excited to start taking my pictures. Awesome, Mary. Yeah, go out inside, participate in the Globe Observer protocols, and we'll see if you want to write in and tell us how you did. You can write info@scistarter.org. I'm just going to share my screen again. So let's go back so you can see how to join our community. Let's go over here and we'll leave that up for a minute as we all leave today. Someone said I just did Globe Clouds, my first observation. That is awesome. Jake also said, thank you, Jake. We appreciate you. Remember, join our community. Links up on the screen. If you want to stay in touch with us about the Globe Observer projects or the Globe at Night project that Jim told you about, or any of the other projects on the platform. And after you participate today, if you want us to feature you on social media or via Discover Magazine's website, get in touch with us at info@scistarter.org. You can learn more about citizen science. There are other presentations that we can do for your Verizon business unit, or we could just celebrate you. I think that's a lot of fun too. And Sam Basvia says, thank you for the great presentation and congrats to Jim for his 40 years of work, Verizon service and IDA work. Yeah, thank you to Jim, especially. You're the star of the show today. So cool. Jim, any parting words for everyone before we let people go participate?
No, just get out there and do citizen science and enjoy what you do. I'm having a blast doing it.
All right. Well, with that, I think that's the perfect note to end on. Bye, everybody. Have a good rest of your MLK Day.